So I noticed that that you did speak to Anne Boleyn.
So when I did it, I had just built the box that I used in that session. When I got done with the session and I started playing back the audio, there were certain phrases that were coming through that I thought were pretty poignant and painted a picture of the landscape. And so overall, I was happy with it. What I didn't expect.
Hi everyone, my name is Misty Gaither, and welcome to Quest, a journey into true crime and the paranormal. It's great to be back, and I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday and it's going to have a great new year. I'm excited because tonight I have Phillip Page with me. He is a parapsychologist. He is also has a YouTube channel called Saving Ghost, and I think a inventor, and I'm going to get into everything about him. I've been stalking him. I'm really looking forward just to breaking down and talking about communication and about energy and how all that works together. So, how you doing, Philip?
I am doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Not too bad.
Great. And I want to take a moment here to thank you for allowing me to be here with you and have this conversation. And if I may, I'd like to give a shout out to our mutual friend Gina for the introduction. So thank you both.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And yes, thank you so much, Gina, from Gina's Gift Gab, for I guess we could say hooking us up, introducing us, and really appreciate that. And it's great to have such great friends that's always wanting to help and be there for you. So Gina's definitely that type of friend. So for those of you who do not know, a parapsychologist, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. I think that's what parapsychologists do. No, I'm joking.
Oh,
Joking. All right, a
ouch.
ouch. Right out the gate. Parapsychology is a field of study that investigates paranormal or psychic phenomena, including purported mental abilities such as telepathy and telekinesis. Parapsychologists aim to test the existence and explore the nature of experiences and abilities in the paranormal realm. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct.
All right. Well, Google was my friend then because that's where I got it at. Not only are you a parapsychologist and you tend to look at things, and I believe science is really your forte. And so you want to look through that glass while you're dealing with the paranormal.
I think we are in a time where we need more of that, and that's just my personal opinion. I, like a lot of other people, have had experiences that just weren't able to be explained ever since I was a child. And I grew up in a household led by a stepfather who wasn't the nicest of men and was really pushing, you got to go to church, you got to go to church. If you're hearing or seeing anything, that's of the devil. And it was that type of growing up. So I was scared. Once I got to a point where I could understand what was going on, I started to tiptoe into the realm of what we would consider ghost hunting. And I realized that everybody was doing the same thing. Everybody had the same equipment. And there were certain shows that were coming out on the Travel Channel, and again, they were all doing the same thing. And in my opinion, and I'm going to say that a lot probably because I want to make it very clear that it's strictly my opinion. It was overdone and it wasn't realistic. And so I thought we need to break away from that. So I started really studying what is spirit? What could spirit be? And we're always told that we have an energy inside of us. And I thought, well, why aren't we looking into that phrase? Why aren't we studying that more? Because it's been medically proven that we do have electrical signals that run through our body
Right.
and in the synapse of the brain to carry information back and forth. And it's even been proven or measured that we do emanate uh, an energy field with radiation. And so I started studying thermodynamics and the laws of thermodynamics, and that energy isn't created, it's not destroyed, and it just simply goes on into entropy, or as some people I've heard say, the chaos of the universe. And I thought, well, wait a minute, could that possibly be it? Could that be the nut that we're missing? And so I started studying that more and more. And as I started to look into that, I started to find professors. My first professor that I found was in NYU, who was studying consciousness as energy. And I thought, that is fantastic, because if consciousness is not linked to the brain as was originally thought, if it is its own energy field, once we have left the carbon based system, which is the body, if consciousness is energy, and if through the laws of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created or destroyed, it simply moves on, then to me, that would explain a life after death. Not the Hollywood version that we've seen so many times. And frankly, and I'm not going to name names, but frankly, some of the stuff that we're seeing on YouTube or that we've seen on broadcast television, which is great for ratings, which is great for giving you that jump scare, but it's not the real science, because then we have a control group and we have a test group, and we are able to log down our findings, and we're able to repeat those findings. And then other people are going to be able to repeat those findings and get the same results or similar results. And that's not what we are seeing. So that's the area that I have been trying to bridge. And it's not been easy, because there is this mindset that has been the foundation for so long in regards to what paranormal and life after death is.
We're talking about consciousness as energy. I mean, can it be harnessed?
That's the question. And that's something that I don't know. If we think of a battery, and that a battery can hold a certain amount of energy in it, but then it has to expel that energy through whatever usage it's being used for. So maybe, maybe it could. But then if we can, what would we do with it? Are we then, I mean, because we start tiptoeing into a realm of, and forgive me because I'm going out on a little bit of a limb here, and I know that. But if we start harnessing that energy, if we find consciousness, if we're able to lock in and have an actual communication with energy that is aware, and we capture that, what kind of ethical dilemmas are we then going to be running into?
Communication with the spirits. Okay. I believe that I don't know if you still do, but you work and I mean, everybody is into the apps. And I know that you said that you personally approve of some apps that are used to communicate with the spirits and some that you do not.
Mhm.
And I think you have designed your own spirit boxes.
I have.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can just touch on that real quick, I went through a learning process when I was starting to move forward more and more into this. I had made boxes that were very similar to what other people had done. I just put my own spin on it. As I got into studying thermodynamics and energy as thermodynamics, I thought, well, okay, how can you record the sound of nothing? Because ultimately, that's what you're doing. And I found the answer in bats.
Mm.
When scientists go out into the field and they try to locate bats and record the sound of bats,
Right.
they're using ultrasonic uh, microphones.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought maybe there's something with that. And so I got a very inexpensive bat finder, and I ran some tests with it, and I had some decent results. And then I built upon that. The thing about communication, again, my opinion only, is we are so accustomed to seeing people use these apps. And the thing about the apps, I have yet to see an app that is actually scientifically valid. Because how do you test? How do you have that control? And how do you have that test? And how can you prove the same results over and over again? There are some that will do their apps in reverse. There's others that use pre-recorded um, sounds. The ones that I am vehemently against are the ones that allow you to put your own words in it, because then to me, that breaks any type of scientific testing that you can do, because now you've altered the test. You've dirtied the test because you've put your own words in. I think if you're going to try to create a field where you can actually have this kind of conversation, you need to provide an arena for voices to come through. Because remember, when you're in your body, you have your lungs that breathe air through your esophagus that vibrates vocal cords. Your mouth moves a certain way, and that's what creates words. You don't have that in as conscious energy. My theory is, my opinion is anyway, is that we have to create frequency. And I'm toying around with the idea of wind. I've had some results, some good results with like using PC fans over an ultrasonic sensor.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are some apps that I've had good luck with. But there are so many of them out there that in my opinion, entertainment only, or a way to make a quick buck.
You look at it through more of a scientific aspect and the reasoning instead of just saying like a leap of faith, like, okay, this is my grandpa talking to me or somebody that you're there and investigating. I investigate and go, do ghost hunting or whatever, and I've seen instances where it has worked, but I've
Mm-hmm.
also seen instances where I'm like, what? What are I don't even know what they're saying. Like even the text. It's like I don't know. It doesn't apply to what, and then I'm like, well, there's so many spirits trying to talk to you, and you try to reason
Right.
a reason why that maybe that it doesn't work, but then on the other hand, it has worked.
You see, and that's the thing right there.
Hmm.
Nobody knows.
Right.
And again, my opinion only.
Your opinion only.
Anybody anybody who says they know for a fact, 100% for sure, run for the hills, because you don't know. We this is we Anybody who's truly heartfully getting into this for the right reasons.
Hmm.
They're doing it because they're curious, they want answers, they want to know. It's uncharted territory with this. There are people who say that they had been in this for X amount of decades. Uh, and to be fair, I am one of those who said I've been in this for 21, 22 years, whatever it is. But we see these people doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. At some point, you have to question. And that's what got me to where I'm at right now, because I was just like everybody else. I was curious. I wanted to know. And so I was using scanning rate. I still think the PSB7 is one of the best
Hmm.
uh, just for communication. I love scanning radios. Yeah, you can get false positives, but you can get false positives in stucco on a wall
Right.
and think that you're seeing a spirit when it's pareidolia. That's where we have to step aside as an observer, and we have to listen to what we've recorded, take a look at what we photographed, and ask ourselves, what could have possibly caused this? Is there another likely reason for this? We have to go about this with an objective mind, because when I got into it, man, I was ready to believe anything because I was new to it. But now, I guess my take is if I want to learn something about life after death, I want it to be true for me. I don't want to do something that's going to be quick entertainment for someone else. And with communication, to be honest, one of the best things, and I've had people really argue this point with me, but one of the best things I have ever used is just a simple K2 meter,
Right.
doing a yes and no session. And that's usually how I will start out a lot of the sessions. If I'm in an area or even in my own home, I will do a yes no session. If the answer is yes, light up as many as you can. If the answer is no, leave it alone. And I've had some really good results with that. And if I think I've locked on to something, then I will use either an app or I'll use the ultrasonic device and just go from there.
When you had first started off and you were saying that how that you were kind of raised in a home that was strict and that you really couldn't believe, and I'm finding that the more interviews that I do, that
Mhm.
and including myself, that that is the case of a lot of the people that are active in the paranormal community, that we had that foundation of religion, we had that foundation of being not being able to express ourselves through what we saw and heard. And I, when you said that, it just brought me back to myself and to other people that I've interviewed, and how it's so much in common that we have. And it's like, I think for so long we were kind of suppressed or made to think not for ourselves. And now that we have this chance, it's like I want to know everything. I want to know why I was scared when I was younger. I want to know why I saw things and no one believed in me. And that's the journey, and that's why I call it Quest, because it is the journey I'm on, because I want to find out everything and make my own opinions and own decisions. And and I really appreciate the stand that you're taking, and you're like, well, this is my opinion, and you don't apologize for your opinion. And I
I
and
don't
I think that that's because some people, they don't have that strength in them to say, this is what I believe, take it or leave it, it's what I believe.
Isn't it great being an adult when where you can actually just do that?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Where you can say, piss off, this is what I believe.
Yeah, and it's really, it empowers me, and I'm sure that you feel empowered being that way, because this, for a long time, I don't know how long that you were there with your stepdad or whatever, but for a while you wasn't allowed and
Right.
to do this. And so the freedom and the just that it brings, and the, like I said, the empowerment is everything. It's like when I got into the paranormal, and it just kind of opened up a whole new world for me. And also, we say, okay, we got the K2 meters, or we got the realm pods, or we got the apps. And what I have found, no matter how much that your equipment cost or how much research is done, the most important piece of equipment that you can have is yourself.
I'm going to say something,
Hmm.
and I don't mean anything by it.
That's fine.
I absolutely love you.
Oh, oh God.
That
Thank you.
was because you are absolutely correct. We see people, and I have some friends of mine who I love dearly, who they spend hundreds and hundreds, tiptoeing into the thousands of dollars on equipment. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Of course, I'm not going to tell them, no, you can't do that, because they're on their own journey. You don't need all the toys. You really don't. You need yourself. You need to be able to be in tune with the area that you're in. And I've always carried two, maybe three pieces of equipment. I'll have a camera, I'll have the K2 meter, and then some sort of communication device. And that's usually it.
But
I see
I don't mean to cut you off, but you know who the equipment is really for?
for
It's
the
for you to
audience.
prove, right, for you to prove what you are feeling and what you're experiencing to everyone else who's watching, or like you said, it's entertainment. It's a validation, instead of, because people have been conned so bad, or and even with psychic mediums and stuff, there is no one that's 100% right. If you go to
Absolutely.
someone and they know everything down to what color underwear that you're wearing or whatever, some are good, very good, but no one is 100% right. and
Absolutely.
and I think that what happened is like, okay, we got this new equipment and we're going and we're trying it, and oh my God, it's telling us what Uncle John used to do 50 years on the farm, and and validation, and
Mhm.
it's like we forget our own spiritualism, our own compass of what that we feel and know, and we trust a man-made device
Right, exactly.
when we have ourselves.
If we are to assume that consciousness is energy
Hmm.
and energy expands out, if our energy, while locked in this form, can touch energy that's not locked in a form, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel a pull, or you're going to get a chill, or you're
Right.
going to feel a heaviness. You're going to get something, because it has been medically proven that emotion can be measured through energy. But go in by yourself, get a feel for the space. There are times, and I'm sure you have felt this, where you can go into a room and you silence yourself, you quiet yourself, and you can feel someone staring at you.
Sure. Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's malicious. It doesn't mean it's good, but you could just see someone watching you. Can I tell you just a little story about that?
Go for it.
So I had gone down to, oh, this is
Not
horrible.
the Trans Allegheny.
Trans Allegheny, yes. So I spent the night at Trans Allegheny. The experience was phenomenal. And anytime I leave an area, I always say, thank you for your time. Please do not follow me. Please do not attach. If you need help, so forth and so on. So I came home and I put the equipment up, and I was uh, just getting ready to relax for the evening. And I was walking past my dining room table. And you know how when you're taking a nap, if someone's watching you or staring over you, you can kind of feel it.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
That's what I felt. And I had to laugh to myself, because it had really been a while since I had noticed anything like that in my own home. And so I turned on the K2 meter, and I said, if there's somebody here, please make this light up. And it lit up. Now, I always suspect that there could be a false positive, that maybe an airplane's going by, or maybe there's someone with some sort of a remote or a cell phone that maybe perhaps it's picking up on, or maybe the home Wi-Fi. So I asked again, and so it lit up all the way. And I said, okay. And I asked, if you want to talk, light this up. If you don't, um, let it, leave it alone. And so it lit up. And I said, did you come here from Trans Allegheny? And it lit up.
Oh, wow.
And that's exactly
Yeah.
what I thought. Because you still get that excitement, you still get that
Sure.
chill, only because you don't know who or what you're talking to. And I asked, are you male? And there was nothing. And I said, and I asked, are you female? And it lit up. And I asked, is your name Lucy? Because there was supposedly reports of a Lucy that was in on the bottom floor. And it lit up. And I said, Lucy, did you purposely follow me here from Trans Allegheny? And it lit up. And I said, are you scared to go back? And it was empty, didn't do anything. And I said, I thank you for being honest with me. I'm going to ask if you please return. I used to want to help spirits cross over if they needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of watch where I'm at with that right now, because I don't know if it's our place, um, or not. So I did ask if she needed any help, and it didn't light up. And I said, well, thank you for being honest. And I would like for you to return to where you came from. If you do need help, call out to so and so, and thank you for your time. And as far as I know, she hasn't been around. I haven't felt anything. I haven't gotten anything with any meters or whatever. So
I mean, the Trans Allegheny uh, Asylum. I mean, that's like a one on my bucket list. Right, Velisca axe murder, of course.
oh,
Also, yes, it's way up there. Let's take just a quick break. I'm going to talk just a couple of minutes about our sponsors. I want to give a big shout out to sponsors of Quest. First off is Chef Ron's Gumbo Stop. If you want to try the best gumbo in the New Orleans area, you've got to go see Chef Ron at right there on Causeway in Metairie, an award-winning chef with award-winning gumbo. Also, we're sponsored by the Haunted Hotel here in New Orleans, and it is reported that the Axeman, that's where he stayed when he went on his little rampage back in the early 1910s. And Brandon and I, along with New Orleans psychic medium Carrie Roy, we went and investigated there a few times, and yes, it's haunted. So be sure to go on haunted hotelnola.com and book your room. And I've stayed there a few times overnight, and you will not be disappointed. Also, mark your calendar for March the 23rd. And New Iberia, can you believe it, will be having their first Paracon, and it's sponsored by Louisiana Spirits. And let me tell you, I'm really excited to be a part of it. The show's a sponsor of the Paracon, and they're going to have some wonderful guests such as Dave Schrader, Shane Pittman, Sarah Lemos, and just so many people that are coming out all the way to New Iberia, if you can believe it. But go on and get your tickets, and that night, if you get the VIP tickets, you can go on a ghost hunt. And so that'll be really cool. So thank you so much, and really thank you to our sponsors for your continued support. And I said, I noticed that in a lot of your earlier videos that you did, you kind of picked someone, to make a video of and try to communicate with. Do you still do that?
I haven't done it in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason is I didn't lose interest in it, but I did get burnout with the YouTube drama,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. Uh, because of the fact that I do approach things a little bit differently, and because I have been fairly outspoken about some methods, there's been attack on my way. Let me be clear on that, though, that there has been a lot more support than there has been attack. And it was a matter of what am I going to put up with? What am I going to allow myself to put up with? And for me, it was a mental health break to take a step back. I have a great interest in history, and I still am planning on doing more. I just haven't done any in a little while.
Okay. So I noticed that you did speak to Anne Boleyn.
Anne Boleyn, that was one that
And for those of you who may not know who Anne Boleyn was, she was the second wife of Henry VIII and one of the first ones to be beheaded. Okay, go ahead. History lesson is over with.
yeah, that was one that there was a couple of things with that one. It was a personal interest of mine because I had just got done watching the show The Tudors
Mm,
and kind of got reintroduced and reinterested in Tudor history. And so I was thinking about Anne because my opinion only is that once you crossed over, you probably don't care so much about title. She got a raw deal with
oh,
Henry. I
yeah,
mean, she really,
definitely.
really did. I mean, not enough she got beheaded, but the fact of why she got beheaded, as far as being falsely accused and him wanting to move on to another wife. So, but there was also requests that were coming in for Anne Boleyn. So I thought, okay, it's a win-win. So when I did it, I had just built the box that I used in that session. When I got done with the session and I started playing back the audio, there were certain phrases that were coming through that I thought were pretty poignant and painted a picture of the landscape. And so overall, I was happy with it. What I didn't expect was the landslide that came in. I still get comments and people watching that video, even though it's been a few years now since I've
Hmm.
done it. You know that anytime you do something like this, whether it's an investigation or it's communication, it's a crapshoot. Sometimes you're going to get nothing.
Right.
Sometimes you're going to have the world given to you. And in that particular video or session, I feel the world was given to me. And so that's one I'm proud of.
Is that one that you would say is your most memorable of communication, or have you, like, did you speak to someone else, like maybe Marilyn Monroe, or someone other than Anne Boleyn?
I was I had done some celebrities in the past,
Mm-hmm.
but celebrities were never my main focus. Since then, I have removed celebrity sessions because I was taking a stance on some of these creators that we're seeing that the moment a celebrity dies, they come out with a video.
Yes.
And to me, there's a moral and an ethical dilemma in that the families need time to mourn, the fans need time to mourn, and my background historically has been in marketing. So when I see someone coming out with a video right after someone has passed, I'm looking at the fact that person is newsworthy. They're in Google searches and they're going to get a lot of hits. And that's why you have some people who they only specialize in celebrities
Hmm.
because of that reason. So I removed my celebrity sessions. Again, I didn't have a whole lot to begin with, but I just don't do celebrities at this point. My stance that I took in a video that I made in regards to this was I will not do a celebrity who was alive during the recording age. So if there's any type of vocal recording of them, I'm not going to do it because with AI being what it is, and maybe I'm a little paranoid, so forgive me, with AI being what it is, you can take a clip of someone's voice,
Right.
you can run it through the software, and you can speak just like we're speaking right now, but it'll come out as that person's voice. So in fact, I think the software is called Respeecher,
Mm.
is the actual software. They use that in The Mandalorian for Luke Skywalker when he came back. So
Is there anyone that you haven't spoken to, communicated with that you would like to? That's kind of on your bucket list to maybe when you get back into it to talk to?
doing a session, especially if I'm going to do a session with ultrasonic equipment, it's very labor intensive because you have to record the software, or you have to record the tonnage that comes through, and then you have to go down into about 1000 2000 hertz, amplify that, get rid of all the noise,
Hmm.
and hope that there is a scratch of something in there that you can pull out. And so it's not like an app where you can just, oh hey, I think they said yes, rewind it, go back. Yep, they said yes. You really have to take time in editing the audio. And when I mean editing, because I know how people will take that, I don't mean adding in things later on. I mean going through the audio,
Hmm.
through the noise of the audio, cleaning it up, and trying to pull voices out if they are indeed there. So I still have an interest. I don't know who I would do next or what I would do next. Actually, I'm kind of lying to you
I could
on
tell.
that.
No, I'm joking.
Um, have you ever heard of the story of the boy in the box?
I have.
I thought about doing that one, but I struggle with the sensitivity of that one just because I believe he was 5,
Hmm.
right around there, 4 or 5
Right.
at the time of his passing. I have thought about that one because I'm simply curious, and maybe he has something he wants to say. I don't know, but I struggle with the ethics of that.
The show is Quest, the journey into true crime and the paranormal. I mean, is it ethical to merge the two sometimes? I mean, if he said like, okay, so and so did this to me, whatever, would that bring closure, or what would the like what would it bring?
See, and that's where for me the issue is, because what is right and what is wrong is very subjective according to the person. We live our lives based on perception. So I might think that it's quite okay
Right,
to,
right.
let's say,
And I'm not saying it's not. I was just trying to.
absolutely. And in regards to what you were talking about, merging merging crime with paranormal, they definitely go hand in hand, because you can't tell me that someone who was violently murdered by a parent or by a lover, that because of the emotion that goes into that, and
Hmm.
because of the swiftness in which that can happen, you can't tell me that once they have left their body, they're not kind of standing there going, what the hell, what just
Sure.
happened, what's
Right.
going on? So I think the two would go hand in hand.
I think it could be more mainstream, because like I always say, sometimes that law enforcement, they do have a problem, maybe publicly, sometimes that they do use psychics or whatever, behind the scenes. But I mean, for it to be more recognized and more of a tool, because like I said, you know, DNA genealogy wasn't used 5, 6, 7 years ago. It wasn't used, and now it's solving murders that happen 40, 50, 60 years ago that no one would ever thought that you could take just a little speck of blood and then find out someone and then just work the family tree until you find that right person. And so maybe one day that could be a possibility where it's more, to help and to solve some of the murders and bring closure to families. That's just my thinking. And as you would say, my opinion, but that's my opinion that that's something that I personally would want to do, because I feel like that if it was my child, my mother, or my dad who was murdered, I want to do everything in the world to find out who did that. I don't care what tool that it is. And if someone came to me and said, okay, and I really felt that this person had been vetted and really knew what they were talking about, of course I would want to hear from them and to find out.
And I do agree with that to a point.
Sure.
I have seen people live and on YouTube who have taken people who are hurting, who are looking for answers.
Hmm.
And my part of my undergrad is in human psychology. And so being able to read a situation is an important aspect of that particular field. And I have seen people use that skill in what's supposed to be either a psychic or a paranormal session. Now, I am not saying that it's not impossible. In fact, I believe it very much is possible to do exactly what you are saying. What personally I would like to see is somebody come out, somebody who is either backed by someone who's reputable or who maybe is reputable themselves and say,
Hmm.
hey, here's a theory, here's something that we have come up with. We think this will work for actual two-way communication.
Hmm.
And we think we could use this in court cases. We think we could use this with law enforcement, so forth and so on. And I would be excited to see that. Where I kind of run into issues is where when we have some kind of revisiting apps, for example, if we are using apps that can either use pre-recorded or inserted audio, or apps that are known to kind of repeat themselves, then I would question that. However, if let's say they're using a REM pod or a K2 meter and they're doing a back and forth communication, or if a name comes up and it gives the police something to where, okay, we don't know for sure if this is
Right,
right or
right.
not, but we can at least ask. We can check this out as a possible lead. I'm down for that, you know.
I don't think it would
So
hurt anything, to try to, like you said, a possible lead. What do you think about the Estes method?
I have a few people who have subscribed to me who they have suggested that I try that,
Hmm.
and I have not done it yet. Uh, Partially because I'm unsure, and I know that that would be the ideal reason to try something like that. Because if I'm, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if I am correct, the person is blindfolded
Yes.
and they're just listening to the audio, correct, while someone else is asking questions.
Yes, they have like the noise canceling, or they can feed the audio through, and then they're supposed to say, whatever that they hear, and I've done it, and I, it's an amazing experience. It truly is. But then you have someone off that's asking, like, can you tell me the name of someone in this room, or can you, or something about the case that they're working on, and then the person, may say something just they're not able to hear the person ask the questions. They can just hear what's coming through on the box.
If you don't mind my asking,
Hmm.
what did you use for your audio media?
I use the Necrophonic app.
Okay.
Yeah, I used that, and it was, like I said, it was really. As a matter of fact, I used it at the Axeman Hotel, and
Okay.
and it, and the stuff that came through, I didn't realize the relevance.
Mhm.
Is that right? Yeah. Um, until like the history. Like we went later and like looked over the history, and I was like, oh, that's why that this word kept coming up. Had no idea. It's different. and I think that it's not good to be in that frame for a long period of time as far as being the person in the headphones,
Mhm.
doing that. I think you get kind of, I don't know the correct word, but maybe overwhelmed by stuff trying to come through because you're like a conduit.
And I would agree with that, that if they know that there was someone there who's trying to open, and I don't mean a physical or a spiritual door, just a figurative door
Hmm.
for communication, then yeah, they're going to hop on that. And if we are to revisit the consciousness as energy, if that consciousness goes out into entropy and it kind of blends in with all the other consciousness that's out there, then yeah, you are going to get bombarded with a ton of uh, voices trying to come through because they want to be heard.
Right. Because I got to thinking, it seems like every few months or so, there's a new app that's everything's going, it's bigger and better. And, you can see now that they have the SLS cameras and, because they even give false positives. You have to kind of watch, if there's something like this camera here, it'll map and you're thinking, oh, that's a person, but it's really not. But there are times that it does, seem to map out a spirit or something, and you have those, and it's like you can talk and have basically pretty much a conversation sometimes with a spirit if you are, maybe like you said that one time when everything goes right, or you're lucky. And it makes me wonder, like even with cell phones, you think about it, how they first started off, and then people just got the invention, or more, it got more detail, more um integral, more things added onto it, that now you can do everything, I think, but cook a pizza, and that might be something that's coming up next. I don't know. But it just makes me wonder, like, have we hit the plateau of communication with spirits? Or we're going to just keep improving, and that how that we will communicate is just going to be like, nah, it's an everyday occurrence, because, like, are we going to lose some of the luster of the art or the field of the paranormal? Because
Well,
it's so, like, used to, it would be like Hans Holzer, or the Warrens, or, it wasn't like widespread like it is today. And now anyone can download on their phone, and you pay an extra $5.99 a month, and you get the upgrades. So is it going to be where everybody can do it, and it just gets so commonplace? Or
I think there's a few things going on, and you touched on a few things. One, I don't think we have even scratched the surface of where we could be with this.
okay.
I think what's happening is that we are having certain folks out there who are realizing that there are people out there who are wanting to do this and who are wanting answers. And so there is a financial gain to be made off of that desire.
Sure.
The bulk of the scientific community doesn't take it seriously because why should they? They see people playing around with apps, and there was that old uh, mindset of, well, there are no such things as ghosts. Once you're dead, you're dead.
Right.
And that was held, you didn't blend science and spirituality at all. They were two separate things, which that never made sense to me because they should be going hand in hand. Because again, if spirit is energy, certain sciences study energy. So I don't think we've even scratched the surface. I think we could do a lot more. I think we could do better.
Hmm.
I don't think we are doing better. I think we are barely doing status quo with it. I think we have a large amount of people who have good intent, who really want to try to do something good with this,
Sure.
but there's no real education for this. Uh, and what is out there is just a repeat of what has been done. And I want someone, just, someone who has influence, like major influence, to say, hey, here's an actual scientific way that we can do this. Let's actually test this in a lab. Let's see how we can do this out in the field, and let's actually try this to where we can have that communication that you're talking about. Now, that being said, we do not know what is on the other side. We truly don't. We don't know
Correct.
what rules are set on the other side, if there are rules. So there may be a chance that we're not supposed to know right now. There may be a chance that there is a greater being or greater beings out there who are saying, this is your experience right now. You are in a body. Enjoy this experience right now. You're supposed to learn from this. You're supposed to take away from this experience. You will have this other experience soon enough. There could be that side of it
Right.
as well. But no, I think as a community we could be doing a lot better. And I get infuriated when I hear people say that what they have done is scientifically proven and it doesn't follow the scientific method. It doesn't, there are no write-ups, there is no documentation, there is no peer review, which is major for anything that is supposed to be scientifically theoretical.
I appreciate so much you being on my show. It's been a joy talking to you and just finding out more about communication and energy and about your views on things. And I really appreciate you being a guest, and it means a lot to me. And thank you again to Gina for introducing us.
Absolutely.
So I hope that you have a good night, and everybody, if you can, hit the subscribe and like button, and I will see you next week on Quest. Have a good night.